The Frozen North, Episode 73, our top 5 PS2 games.
Hello and welcome to episode number 73 of the Frozen North Gaming Podcast. My name is JJ, and I'm here to talk about video games with my two friends, Mark.
Hello. I just ruined everything right away.
It's not the first time. We're used to it.
No, I know what you guys came to
Hello.
listen to this episode for. I know what they want to hear, so I'm going to say it. How do y'all?
This is the new married Mark, docile and
already
defeated.
settling down. He's
Hello.
already.
Hello, I'm Mark.
And to his left and my right, Brian.
Hi, I'm Brian. In case you didn't know, my name is indeed Brian.
Actually, you threw me off because I was going to say my name, but then I didn't.
But I did.
And then I said hello instead because that's the first thing I thought of.
How's everybody doing out there? I hope gaming is healthy in your lives.
You know, Mark just went through Mark's mind is like a computer. He was like, okay, crap. He just introduced me. Greetings. Oh crap! And you just see a list cycling
Yes.
through his head.
It's like an autocomplete when you type something in.
Exactly. Which
He's
one
like,
is good? Hello.
Standard
That's a good one.
response. Standard response. Mark, standard response. Hello.
Exactly.
So, what have you guys been playing?
Go ahead, Mark.
I have started on The Witcher 2.
You started on The Witcher 2?
Yeah.
You've been playing The Witcher 2 since last one, haven't you?
Did I say I was playing it on the last one?
Yeah.
I thought you did.
Last month is a blur.
Typical.
Yeah, well,
Well, I kept playing The Witcher 2.
Mark got married, everybody. So
Yeah.
congratulations to Mark.
I got married.
First of all.
Thank you.
It was
Very
beautiful.
exciting.
It was a beautiful ceremony, and the groom looked great in his
That's right.
in his Crocs.
Yes, all the groomsmen and myself wore Crocs down the aisle.
It was fantastic.
It was great.
So did you play any video games then?
I did.
With your wedding?
With my wedding?
Yeah, with your
At
wedding
the
going
wedding?
on. Not at the wedding, while your wedding was being planned.
Well, basically, this past week, I've not touched a video game. But the week before, I put in, I don't know, maybe 10 hours in The Witcher 2. Got through Chapter 1, and I'm probably halfway through Chapter 2 now. And that's pretty good. It's a lot better than the first one.
Yeah.
In terms of gameplay, at least.
Right.
Definitely. I have been playing... I beat The Witcher 2. I also beat Uncharted 1 on the Nathan Drake collection. I also beat the first expansion of Final Fantasy XI, Rise of the Zillark.
Nice.
And I also have started... since I wasn't sure what to play directly, I wanted something shorter. Because we got Fallout coming out soon. We got Halo coming out soon.
Oh man.
We got Xenoblade coming out soon in December.
This in stretch of the year is
this block. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
going to be crazy.
Yep.
I've been playing. I went to How Long to Beat and went into my account and looked at my backlog and I hit the randomizer button and
Love
it came
it.
up with Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne. So I've been playing through that, trying to finish it off.
That's why I love
I
that
never
web-
actually beat it.
That's
Before.
why I love that website when you have a huge backlog and you have that. It's called the Crisis of Choice, which I call it. It chooses for you.
Yep, it's nice.
Yeah.
HowLongToBeat.com. Other than that, I mean, yeah, I've been pretty bedridden for the past couple of days for some medical issues, which has sucked. But I'm better now.
Nothing terminal.
Yeah.
Nothing terminal.
Nobody needs to worry.
I get to go back to work tomorrow. Yay. Brian?
I beat GTA 5. I think I was playing that last time we had a podcast. I beat that. Fantastic game.
Fan o' man.
I'm supposed to be playing Suikoden 3 for our thing, but I've had a crisis of motivation lately. We just talked about it. This block of games coming out right now. Almost too good to pass up. I've been playing Destiny, The Taken King, loving that, and also I'm playing through the Uncharted are games that you can play in like a night or two. Very short, very cinematic, very fun, like little palate cleanser. So I've been playing that as well, playing through the Nathan Drake collection. It's one of my favorite game series. I find them better than Indiana Jones movies. I know that's weird, but
I'd say they're closer to National Treasure.
That,
than
you know
Indiana
what?
Jones,
Okay.
to be honest.
I just feel like they're more fun. You know, they're a lot. I mean, the acting in those games are just off the charts. And you know, JJ really liked 1, and that's probably the weakest one of the 3. So
I had a blast with it.
yeah. I've been playing those 2. Probably gonna fire up Suikoden 3 here. I have to. I want
make a
to.
little symbolic gesture.
Yeah,
Symbolically
but
attempt.
I think I've had JRPG burnout because every time I go to play it, I'm just like, I make that grimace face like, I gotta rip the Band-Aid off and start playing.
It's a good game.
It happens to me a lot with like longer like commitment kind of games where I have that like.
Well, don't even think about the full
Right,
commitment.
that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna start playing it soon, but right now, Destiny and Uncharted 1 have my attention. Yeah, that's what I've been playing lately. It's been a blast. If you like Diablo or roguelike type games, I really recommend Destiny. If you also like first person shooters, they did such a massive overhaul and improvement on the game since we first played it when it came out. So
It's like
very
Diablo
fun.
3 after that
Yeah.
first year when they revamped everything.
Yeah, they have quest trackers now and like actual quests you do. The story's way more cohesive because of that. So yeah, I recommend it highly. It's fun. It's what I'm playing. I also went to Mark's wedding. They were lovely. Shanna looked lovely. Mark looked lovely. The venue was lovely. And my car exploded. So I had to buy a new car this weekend. So we've all had, like, JJ had the medical issues. Mark had the wedding, and I literally had to replace my car before I have to work on Monday because.
All of our lives got worse.
So now I'm in debt.
I didn't say it, Shanna.
Shanna,
Yeah.
you're awesome.
No,
I just meant to say that her life got worse.
Yeah, her life-
Mark's
yeah.
got better.
Mark's got
definitely.
way
Yeah.
better, but
That's fair.
Shanna taking on a Mark is a quite a
Step down.
Step down. Yeah, I'm sorry about it. But yeah, I had to go into debt this weekend. So yes.
That debt.
Yeah. Ugh.
Wanted to just on top of all that, since you brought up the Uncharted 1 thing, Mark and I were kind of messing around. I bought myself a PlayStation camera, and Mark and I were messing around with Twitch, and apparently Twitch works really well with it. So look for us to be announcing a channel where I might be streaming a little bit. I'm not looking to go all out and do Let's Plays and get crazy with it because I never really saw too much. Like, for me, I'm just not interested in watching other people play video games as much as I am playing them myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we set it up and we get it rolling and everything like that, I'll have more details later on. But I'm looking at it just as more of a way to be able to talk to people. If I can talk to people while I'm playing a game or something like that, awesome, great.
Yeah.
But we're looking to get it for that, and then possibly do some on Xbox through the Kinect, depending on how well that works. We have to test that out too. But like I said, more details to come in the future.
Yeah, you guys will get a chance to see how bad I am at video games.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a screen name called like lol and just troll you guys nonstop. You won't know who it is. But I just told you my screen name. Dang it.
Yeah. Right. Just take off a lull. We won't know.
Then you'll-
like,
yeah.
no, that's got a one less
It's only
lull. That's not
3
Brian.
lulls.
There's no way.
You fooled me.
Emails. Let's go into emails. We got an email this week that we wanted to read because I thought the question was pretty good. So this comes from our buddy Sean. He says, "Hey guys, so glad the show is still going strong after 72 episodes. Yes, I'm greedy and wish it was once a week, but for now I'll continue to accept podcasts twice a month." Man, I would love to do once a week, but we just have so much crap going on.
I think we all would prefer to do it once a week, but man, real life sucks.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
So that's true. I would love to. Maybe eventually someday when we're able to push out more content. Like I said, this Twitch thing will be a good way to at least get ways to talk to people out there. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
He says, at the end of episode 72, you guys were talking about Mass Effect as Brian's most replayable game. Outside of the Mass Effect series, what are a few game series that have great connecting storyline from the first game to the last game? I know that a lot of series like Final Fantasy series have great individual stories, but those stories don't connect from game to game. So outside of Mass Effect, what other series have the best underlying story from game to game?
It's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
One right off the bat to me, you're gonna think it's weird, but Assassin's Creed. it's not necessarily the story of the person you're playing as the assassin, but there's that overworld series, like the Desmond, his story.
Yeah.
It's literally
like a secret evil company doing
Right.
weird stuff. And,
so believe it or not, even though you're playing like in completely different like times and locations, the story, the person who's actually getting in the animus and living these guys' lives is followed pretty closely chronologically. So that's one that comes off the top of my head. That's pretty game to game.
I did respond to him. I mentioned the Xenosaga trilogy.
Oh yeah,
Fantastic. Yeah. If you've got a PS2 and you've got access to those 3 games, I mean you're in for a lot of dialogue and a lot of cutscenes. But if you're really into like just JRPG sci-fi, over the top and like, you know, just out there, it's very, very good.
Time for a token Suikoden recommendation. The first 3 at least are completely linked together. There's all the crossover characters and.
I mean, the 4th one too has a few, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's not nearly
Tim
as
is in the
much.
4th
It's
one.
not nearly as connected,
No, I know.
but it is still connected.
They
yes.
all take place in the same world, just
Yeah.
at different time periods, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, it's. I mean, I would definitely include that series in there for sure.
Yeah.
I also said the Dot Hack series. Very, very, very repetitive gameplay, but the story itself is actually very good. It's a simulated MMORPG. You are basically trapped inside of a video game. Well, you're not trapped. It's hard to explain. In the anime, the main guy is trapped, but this actually goes alongside the anime. But basically, you are trying to figure out what is going on in this game world that is affecting people in the real world. And you get to choose your party members, and you get to go to message boards and see what other people are posting. You get to respond to emails, and it's all automated and everything like that.
Right.
But it's actually very, very a cool story from game 1 to game 4. It's so repetitive. There is really not much change in the gameplay throughout each game. So if you can deal with that, the story is actually very good. And then, like I said, I started Uncharted 1, and those games same main character.
They are not as connected as you'd like them to be. It's very similar. Like the reason I compare it to Indiana Jones is very similar to those movies. There's references to them, but they're kind of like standalone games. Really, there's some recurring characters, and they harken back to some of the old movies. But it's not. You don't really feel like it's a continuance. It's basically like its own adventure in each game. Obviously escalating and so there's definitely like a couple of characters that obviously Sully, he's throughout the series, and but it's very Indiana Jones like, where the movies tie in, but it's not direct. It's like, okay, this is years later or something like that. One I would suggest, if you like action and great visuals and just visceral, I mean, it's a very mature game, but God of War series. In fact, the God of War 3 game takes place literally like the fade to black on God of War 2, the opening scene on God of War 3 is like right after that. So, that's another series. It's very chronological when you play it. You can pick it right up, and it goes through all 3 games. And God.
Also put anything from Blizzard on that list. All the Diablo games are linked together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All the Warcraft games are linked together.
Yeah.
You're going into, what was it?
Frozen Throne.
Frozen Throne. That's they've got good storylines too, and like well voice acted and everything.
Yeah, I mean,
StarCraft. People love the plot of StarCraft.
I know, Sean. I don't know if you still play World of Warcraft. I know we kind of we were on there and talked a little bit at one point, but I mean the games leading up to it, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, those all are like the introductions to World of Warcraft, like how everything started. You're playing through the history basically.
Yep.
Really, really, really good games.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
Boy, I mean, I'm sure there's more. I kind of
Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Is it not linked?
It's more like
they are. It's kind of the same vein, like Brian was saying with Uncharted, or more like
superficial,
where the world is the same, but like kind of different characters, different things are happening in each one. So I mean, they're amazing games, and honestly, you play through one, and it feels like you just played through a trilogy. So.
Yeah. Yep. That's really all I've got. Those are the two. The God of War and Assassin's Creed are really good examples of kind of continuing stories.
Okay. All right. Well, if you would like to email us, you can do so at frozennorthpodcast@gmail.com. Our website is fngaming.net. Our Facebook is facebook.com/frozennorth. What's our Twitter, Mark?
At FN Gaming
Oh, boy.
Podcast.
FN Gaming Podcast?
Yeah.
That's not it.
I'm auto logged in. I don't know what it is.
Our Twitter is at FN Podcast.
I love it.
Our blog is frozennorthpodcast.blogspot.com. And we would appreciate you subscribing to and rating us on iTunes. The more you do that on there, the more attention we get from other people, and the more we can get our name out there.
Great question, Sean, by the way. You're my boy. That's
Yes.
you're my boy
Wow.
sound. Yeah, it was a good question, though. Seriously, there are a lot of games out
They
there.
can't see the gestures.
Oh,
that
I was.
you're making.
You can imagine what I was doing.
Obscene
still a sound.
gestures
That's
over
not-
here.
No, you can imagine.
Right.
You can
Yeah.
you can visualize it.
He's throwing up like gang signs, and I don't even know. It's kind of rude. To be
I
honest.
feel offended.
No,
I know, seriously. You're
don't-
lucky this isn't a video
Hey,
show.
you may feel offended, but at least you're not offended.
True.
Yes. Anyways. Okay. What do we got next? News!
News, guys, news. Your news sound of the day is going to be wow. Okay, that's a news sound. So keep that in mind for next time. So we're going to talk about, real quick, Nintendo. They've already started distributing the NX software development kits. What that means is they are getting a head start for third-party companies who want to develop for it so that they can start working on, obviously programming for the NX software. Here's the weird thing. Nintendo's not going to reveal anything official until 2016. But speculation is, Mark, as they say, 9/10 of the law or something.
That's not a thing they say.
Nope.
I'm an expert in bird law.
It's not.
There you go.
So, the Wall Street Journal suggests what we have heard before circulated as a rumor, including that the console might arrive next year and be a two-part device for home and on-the-go gaming. Weird, but intriguing. The story also includes that Nintendo could be approaching the NX differently than they have of their consoles in the past, opting for relatively more powerful hardware, i.e. Sony and Microsoft. It's just like,
Those are 2-year-old consoles
I mean,
now. You'd hope it would be.
let me ask, as a Wii U owner, are you kind of disheartened that they're literally just like, well, we appreciate you bought the Wii U, but pump the brakes? That's what it feels like.
They kind of have to at this point.
I know they do, but oh man, like,
If the Wii U is my primary console, I would probably feel a little bit more bitter about it.
Gotcha.
But it's not. I mean, honestly, it's probably number 3 at this
Sure.
point. I think they're making the right move.
I do
think
too.
they need to get this out as soon as possible from a business standpoint. If you're a primary Wii U player, I feel bad for you. Absolutely. It's kind of a slap in the face. But look at it from their point of view. What else are they going to do? They're not in trouble, but they're trying
to avoid
having
trouble.
to tread water a little bit.
no, I agree. Do you think it's weird that the rumor is that this is going to be a like home console / portable?
I don't think it's weird. I think that's very Nintendo.
Yeah.
That sounds very... But on the same side, I don't see how you would be able to have a portable console and then also make it as powerful as they're hoping it's going to be.
I think it's going to have to do with streaming, kind of like the Vita and the PlayStation TV. That's my gut feeling, but man, it's weird. I thought it was a weird rumor. It's a rumor, so we don't know anything official. Nintendo hasn't said anything. They won't till 2016, but there are a lot of like signs pointing towards a lot of this stuff. So we're just speculating, and like I said, it's 9/10 of the law or something like that. I remember hearing that in bird law school.
You're just quoting yourself.
To the next article of business via this news, we're going to talk about Blizzard's new character-based shooter Overwatch. The closed beta opens in October 27th. Knowing Blizzard, this beta is probably going to be more polished than released games. So if you want to get your hands on this beta to this game, it looks phenomenal, by the way. I mean, what Blizzard game doesn't? But you're going to need to sign up for the beta to get an invitation. And to do that, you're going to go to the Overwatch website. So just Overwatch, type it in Google, go to the website, sign up for beta. You get a chance to get in there. The game reminds me a little bit of how Team Fortress is, where it's kind of a class-based game. Each class has a different role that they play. It's very Team Fortress-esque type of game. So if you're into that sort of thing.
How many times do you need to watch the Overwatch trailer before you've overwatched it.
Oh! And ting ting, your pun of the day, everyone.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Moving on to the next article. What do you guys feel about? How do you guys feel about Overwatch personally?
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, I'll check it out.
It's a Blizzard game.
Free to play.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you that it's Heroes of the Storm. When it was in beta, it didn't feel like a beta.
You were like, this is a beta?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I had fun with Team Fortress. It'll be just like Heroes of the Storm for me. It'll be fun to jump into and goof around, but it's not going to be anything that I'm going to like devote tons of hours to.
That's how I feel. Just another one of Blizzard's properties that are just like, it's going to be good, but it's not necessarily one that you're going to be like, going to play it every day.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, there's going to be freaking esports matches and stuff with this. It'll be interesting to see that with the character, diversity that they have in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've liked all the Blizzard's, I didn't like card games until Hearthstone. I didn't like MOBAs until Here's the Storm. I wasn't really a big fan of Team Fortress until probably Overwatch, so we'll see what happens.
I'm a massive fan of Team Fortress. I've always had fun with that game.
I think I came into it too late, and I was already outclassed, and it just kind of felt like if I jumped into CS:GO or something, it's like, oh, okay, I'm terrible.
Well, I think the whole brilliance of those kind of games is the trial and error method. Because you can have a match go for an hour, and you can try 100 different things in that time period.
Did you ever play original Team Fortress or just TF2?
TF2.
Okay, yeah. I mean, and I think Mark did too. We started with regular Team Fortress.
Yes.
Me, you, and your brother.
Yeah.
You guys actually, now that I think about it, you guys were the ones that got me into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Snipers on 2 Fort, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that was the way it was done.
Good stuff.
Okay, let's go talk about EA for a second. EA has made an announcement that they have no interest or time for HD remakes. First of all, I would like to tell EA, this is personally for me, shut up, make a Mass Effect Trilogy HD remastered 4D space for me, and then don't ever make a remaster again. Okay? Okay.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. On a serious note, I really can't blame a company for wanting to focus on new properties.
You know what? I call BS because I linked you a photoshopped image of an HD collection for Mass Effect, and you're like, oh, I don't really need it. It's okay, I guess.
Well, I mean, I want them to make that one game. I don't want them to make any other HD games, but I don't think an HD remake, because I think all the games are in HD anyway. So
you know what? When EA learns how to launch a game that isn't fundamentally broken when it comes out, then
one step at a time.
I guess my take on their stance is that I can't really blame them for saying, "Hey, we want to focus on properties, upcoming properties. We want to focus on all our sequels, and we want to really focus on how to game you out of your money with more microtransactions somehow."
Yeah.
So I don't know. EA's kind of seemed like they started to understand a few things. So I'm hoping that they're turning the corner. Ubisoft's going the other way, but I don't know. I can't really blame them. I mean, remakes are one thing. I don't think Mass Effect games are old enough to warrant an HD remake. They're already in HD, so I'm facetious.
They look fantastic as is.
Exactly, but props to EA. They want to focus on their business model moving forward, making sequels and all that kind of stuff. Okay, well that's fine. And then this is kind of a little bit of a tech article, but PC gamers like myself have always been trying to bridge that gap between how do I get my computer on the PC? I want to keep my computer at my desk, but I also want to have it on the TV when I want to play a game. Because I thought about moving my TV to the desk, or my computer to the TV, but I was like, well, I need a desk when I need to do work at home. I don't want to sit on the couch and do that. Well, other than having a 50-foot HDMI cable that you have to string throughout your house, Steam Link. This came out with this thing called Steam Link, and people have been talking about it, and it's actually, now this is very, very reliant, this piece of hardware is very reliant on your A, rig to run powerful games, and B, your speed of your network. Okay, so those are two obstacles that you have to have that infrastructure already. But if you have that, it works very similar to how PlayStation TV works, or the PlayStation, what is that called? The PlayStation Go, that little box. It's the same, very similar. PlayStation TV.
It's basically a Roku for your PC,
but very powerful. I think one of the users I read at Engadget.com said that when he used his computer's hardware to boost the the streaming service. He said he moved the controller and he was trying to find any kind of, because we know with streaming there's a slight lag, obviously.
Right.
He said he was having trouble finding any kind of artifacting on the screen, which is when you play a stream. Artifacting is when you move the image and there's some residual of that image left over. He said he couldn't find any artifacting or any kind of delay, which that's amazing. If I can get a Steam box to put, or a Steam Steam Link put by my TV, keep my computer at the desk, and be able to play games at willy-nilly, I mean, come on.
Yeah, definitely.
That is amazing. So that's pretty exciting. Bringing PCs to TVs, Valve's they've been pushing this for years. Bringing the
Well, they've been trying to. They had to delay it because it wasn't polished enough, I think, last year. Mm-hmm. Alienware actually had a Steam machine ready for them last year, and then they, the last minute, had to rebrand it.
Right. And then the last, just real quick update, we talked about the video game voice acting strike. They have voted yes on it. What that means, they're not strike. That doesn't mean they're striking. It just means that if the negotiations break down that they're doing right now, then they will strike. And they've already voted on that will be an option. So hopefully that gets resolved and the negotiations go well, or we will be seeing some terribly voice-acted games for a while.
Well.
Yeah, well, they'll be like, hey, you're a programmer. Come, do some voice recording.
That's what subtitles are for.
There you go. There you go. And that's your news for this week. This is, one of those weeks. October 28th? October 42nd, 2088. Coming from you from the future.
October.
Yeah. October 42nd.
Oh, boy.
All right, guys, that's your news. I'm Brian. News Brian. Brian.
You
News.
say that like you're signing off, but you're staying.
I'm signing off, guys, and click. And I'm back.
Review. We got a review today. Reviewing The Witcher 2. If you remember, we reviewed The Witcher 1 a while back, and it was a good game, but Mark and I had a hard time recommending it just because it's tough to get into. And
It really is.
Oh, yeah.
Mark couldn't beat it, but...
well, neither
I
one
was
of us
able
beat
to.
it when we reviewed it.
True, but I was able to eventually suck it up and beat it.
I was able to eventually suck it up and put another 10 to 12 hours into it. And then I lost 2 or 3 hours without a save.
And you said nope.
And I was I'm done.
Yeah.
Was that a technical glitch, or was it...
The game just crashed to the desktop randomly.
That sucks,
man.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
That's disheartening.
So, Witcher 2, it's called The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings, developed and published by CD Projekt Red. Quick, brief overview of the story. Basically, you are Geralt of Rivia again, and you are... I mean, there's a whole opening sequence where you're in this giant battle, which is very, very cool. Right off the bat, it drops you into it. And it's also cool because you can actually choose how much of that you want to see and play through, or you can just skip the whole thing if you want to, which is nice.
Right.
But honestly, it was really cool, and I would recommend playing it. Once the battle's over, you actually go to the castle with the king, and long story short, king ends up getting assassinated, you end up getting blamed, and you learn that it's another Witcher who eventually you learn his name is Letho of Gullet, and you are basically trying to find him throughout the entire game while other things are going on, and it kind of just goes from there.
Well, if you know anything about this story lore, Witcher's going regicide, that was such a weird twist.
Right.
Why are Witchers killing...
Witchers kill monsters.
Correct. Why are Witchers killing... And I think Letho comes from the school of the cat. Is it the school of the cat? Or no, the mongoose. I believe it's the snake.
I don't remember.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're like, why is that school killing... That's regicide. Why would they do that? That whole school isn't under... So, it was an interesting reveal.
And along the way, you get to actually choose which side you want to join, and the storylines differ a little bit. Not the locations don't, I think.
I've only played through it once, so I mean, I chose to go with what's his face? Oh my gosh,
the guy with the turban.
Yeah, what's his name? Golly, I just played
guy.
Witcher 3.
It's all going out of my brain now. Hold on.
Oh my, Roach, Vernon Roach.
Yeah, Vernon Roach.
Yeah, I could
Yes.
not. Yeah, so I chose Vernon Roach and stuff. The story's very wildly, but you're right. They go the story's very wildly, but they go through the same locations.
Yeah. I went the other route actually, and went with the Scoia'tael.
Scoia'tael.
And I imagine it all ends up the same way. Anyways,
I think it does come back into
I mean, and you're not really even, like, you as a character are not really even enemies with the other side, necessarily. Because you still do meet up with them and do stuff with them eventually. But they are very much enemies to each other still.
There's a lot of racism in this world, and Geralt and Witchers are known to be. I think the weirdest thing about the regicide that Letho performed is Witchers are like notoriously neutral. They don't care about wars.
However, humans don't like Witchers. When humans are getting mad at elves and dwarves, they lump humans in with that too. So,
Right. Well, I mean, Witchers are pale cat eyes. They're not.
They're mutants.
Yeah, correct.
All right, so we'll get right into it. We're talking pros. For me, I mean, right when you start the game up and you start playing, you can immediately tell it's worlds better than the original game. For one, it has controller support, which is nice. I played it on the Xbox 360. There was I'm assuming a lot more loading, because you guys said you didn't have an issue with loading times or loading screens, and for me, it seemed like every 10 seconds there was a new loading screen to go to a new area on the 360. We'll get that with cons, but as far as the gameplay itself, it was a lot smoother. Combat was great. It just felt so much better not to just be clicking once to attack and then clicking again in the right timing just to attack and stuff. It was just didn't like it on the PC, but with the controller in my hands, I don't know, it just made it a lot better because I could do a lot more and I felt like I had a lot more control.
Right.
The story was good. It's just a it's a much better game. You can tell.
Yep.
Is it fun? We'll get to that later. But it's just a very, very much better built game. It's a solid game, and the controls are better, and obviously graphical upgrades. So
yeah,
Mark, pros.
First of all, the biggest pro, you already said it, was the way combat plays. Even with a mouse, it's better than what it was in the first game. The first game felt like you're using an Excel spreadsheet or something.
Right.
Just watch, wait for the click. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one, it feels more fluid and dynamic, and it's a lot more exciting.
I know you played on PC. Did you use a controller?
I tried it with a controller, but there's still some glitches with the controller.
Right.
Oh, really?
Like if you go into some of the mini games, you just get stuck.
Yeah.
You just have to like disconnect the controller and go back to mouse and keyboard. It's really weird. But that aside, it plays well on both controller and mouse. I think I said this last week or 2 weeks ago, but weirdly, the voice acting is worlds better than the first game.
Yes.
And it's all the same actors.
Well, and the sound quality too.
Yeah.
They don't sound
bored constantly.
Right.
Is what I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm.
They sound like they're
Agreed.
actually into it.
Yep.
The plot's great. You already heard a lot about the plot, and the level of attention to detail, the way the world looks is amazing.
huge graphical upgrades.
And for me, I know JJ didn't have this, but large open environments.
Yes.
Not tons of loading screens.
Yeah.
Like that wooded area outside of the first town
Flotsam.
is one loading screen, and it's super detailed.
Yeah, it was not. I think it's divided into either 2 or 3 parts.
Wow.
On the
You have to-
Xbox.
You have to go around so much in that game that having more loading screens would be a killer.
It'd be suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can understand where that came in.
The load times weren't that bad. I will say that. Like it didn't take a long time to load up, but the fact that there were just so many of them, it was like,
Right.
all right, come on.
Yeah. Oh, and I should say the fact that every quest felt handcrafted and was not lazy about its motivation was huge.
Yeah, they continue that in Witcher 3 too. I think that's a staple.
Did you do the one with the guy who wanted the harpy feathers? Did you get that far?
I didn't do that one.
Do you remember that?
I don't think so.
Oh man, it's a little side quest, and this dude, like, it's not going to spoil anything because there's nothing to do with the main story. So, like, one of the parts you have to do for the main story is go into the harpy's nest, and like, it's where you're getting the crystals to see the visions.
Gotcha.
And there's this dude who owns a cabin. He's like, I need harpy feathers for my friend. He really wants them. And he's like, all right, sure. So you get him like 8. Come back, give it to him. He's like, I need 40 more. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? So you go and you get 40 and you bring it back to him. He's like, I need like 8 more. And it's like, dude, seriously, get over these things. Get 8, come back and give it to him again. And then he says he needs like 60 more again.
Oh my god.
And it's like, dude, this is ridiculous. This is the stupidest thing, dumb, repeatable quest. Luckily, I was killing enough of them to where it wasn't an issue and I
Right.
was getting them. So eventually, he's like, you can just come back later and I'll have something for you. It's like, okay, cool. I ended up coming back to the zone later on. He had made a suit out of him and dressed himself up to look like a giant, like, chicken harpy looking thing. And he's like talking to himself in the mirror, telling him how beautiful he looks and stuff.
Oh boy!
Oh,
And you
God.
kind of walk in and he turns around and looks awkwardly at you. And there's just this really awkward conversation where Geralt's just like, so how'd your friend like the harpy feathers? And he's like, got like this fake beak on his head and stuff. And he's just looking down. Like,
I don't
you can tell he's
remember
all
that
ashamed.
one.
And he's like, he said they were good. Like, it's just hilarious.
That's really good. I don't remember that quest. I wish I did.
And then he gives you something for it and stuff. And they just
That's
leave it
awesome.
like super awkward and you just leave. And that's the end.
That's amazing. Did you guys do the quest in chapter 2 where you're looking for? There's a bunch of drunk guys stumbling around trying to find their friend. Their friend's like down in some cave, passed out, drunk. You have to like help him get back to the military base. And he's just trying to start fights with all the guards, and you have to keep telling him to shut up.
Oh, I don't think I did that one.
I think I remember that one.
It's pretty good. It's another
Yeah.
funny quest.
A lot of
like that.
a lot of good lines
Jeez.
from Geralt on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a real big pro for me. The writing in that game in all the Witcher games is so good.
Absolutely.
Witcher plays, if you don't like dry characters, Witchers, when they go through their Witcher trial, they're stripped of their emotions, so he's a very dry humor character. You're not going to get any like zippy one-liners from him. It's going to be like the deadpan, like JJ said, like, so how'd your friend like the feathers? Like, very dry humor, but I love dry humor. So for me, I roll on the floor laughing.
And all the other characters bring in the more flavorful.
Correct. They round them out. You got
And
Like
his
Dandelion.
bard friend, Dandelion is
Dandelion.
hilarious.
The reason I like him so much is because he is the antithesis to
Right.
Yes.
Geralt.
You know what's
Definitely.
funny? They're best friends, and they're literally opposite. Dandelion is flamboyant, and
They're
like,
both womanizers, though.
correct.
They
That's
have
what.
that in common.
Yeah, they have that in common. That's true. And then the Zoltan, the dwarf, the angry dwarf. I call him the angry dwarf because he's always mad about something, and he's always drunk. So there's a lot of Zoltan Chive, I believe his name is.
Yep.
There's always characters in The Witcher that round him out, and you get to meet Triss, not Triss, Yennefer of Vengerberg in the third one. The banter between I know you have to deal with Triss a lot, and then Philippa of Isleheart in the second one, but the banter between Geralt and Yennefer of Vengerberg, yeah, yep, they have that like weird. You ever know that couple that they're kind of awkward to be around because they're always fighting, but they love each other, but you're just like, oh god, like
Yeah.
that's so that's the kind of writing that you can expect in The Witcher 2 and then The Witcher 3, obviously. But do you have any more pros, Mark?
That covers it.
For me, the music is a big pro.
Music's very good too. Yep.
Love the music, the visuals, such an improvement over 1. And it felt much more. I don't know about you. You recently played it, but didn't 2 feel like much more of a coherent story? One kind of felt.
One
all over-
almost felt episodic.
right.
Like it was just like the chapter 3
Yeah.
and 1 was just so out of place.
Agreed. And then the
Wait, I'm where now?
Right. Yeah.
And then the biggest pro I have for the whole series in general, but especially to the characters, like Letho of Gullet. When you talk to him and meet him, you get to. Everyone has their own. Like, it's not just like he's the bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's not just I'm a bad guy. It's everyone's got their own motivations and what they're doing, and it's always gray. That's the one thing I'll tell you about the Witcher series. It's always gray. It's never black and white. Think about one thing, in the game that you think, oh, that's evil. Well, no, it's probably not. It's probably got a good reason for doing what it's doing. So that's my pros.
That's a demon coming from hell, coming to,
Good point.
take souls and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like it's pretty evil. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's
But
fun?
like you'll encounter like ghosts in old like burned down hospitals, and
Right.
you're like, oh, well, this is terrible. They're evil. Oh, wait, no. They
not.
actually have a really good reason for
That
why
was
they're
the skeleton
upset.
in the basement that Mark thought was the Wild Hunt.
I think that's that. That's right. I think, and you'll even learn in the third one when you guys play it that the Wild Hunt's it's gray too. It's not evil like the evil demon army. It's not. It's everything's gray. But I think the one thing about it, the biggest thing is that you kind of find out in the way they write it is the monsters are sometimes less monsterish than the humans in the world. Like you realize that they're just trying to live their life too. Like whether it be a ghoul or a
Except for those
troll.
drowners.
Or the drowners are just
They got everything they deserve.
the drowners are just corpses, Mark. So yeah, they're just like zombies. So you can kill them
Yeah.
indiscriminately.
All right. That all for pros?
Pros are done.
Cons. For me, Geralt is probably the biggest con for me. I do not like him as a character. I think he's boring. I think he's flat. Like Brian said, he's void of emotion. But you can still have somebody who's void of emotion and make him interesting. I still don't find him interesting at all. Like his whole memory loss thing, you're kind of trying to figure out his memories, I guess. But I never really cared at all. I thought the world itself and getting to meet all these people in the world was way more interesting than trying to figure out Geralt's past.
Well, and I think I agree with you, because coming into the games, they don't, like, the reason he lost his memory is because he was in a riot in a town and a boy stabbed him through the abdomen with a pitchfork. Yeah. There's all this backstory to Geralt. Like, they introduce Yennefer in the third game, and they have huge history together. But if you've never read the books that were out there before, you have no context. And I think that's where JJ's coming in, where it's like, how am I interested in this guy? I don't know anything about him.
That's exactly why they did the memory loss thing, I think. Is just they needed an excuse to have tons of exposition about Geralt's backstory.
Yeah.
When it should just be known.
Right, exactly. So, I agree.
It's just a lame storytelling device.
But I agree with you. He's a very dry character, and it's polarizing. You're either going to like him or you're not. I personally love Geralt. I think
he's great because he's not Spock.
Right.
You can have that Spock, like, emotionless character, or you can have Geralt, who's just like, he doesn't care.
Right. He literally...
He's not like pure logic. He's
a nihilist.
I just don't care.
Yeah.
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 I also... It's just not my kind of game. Like I said, it is a great game. It is a very well-built game. But I found myself just not having that much fun with it, which is, to me, the most important part of a video game, is that you're having fun with it. I like lighthearted adventures. I like to, feel like I'm making a difference and doing things. And this game, it just seemed like no matter what I did, everybody was just depressed. Everybody was just like, the world sucks, and I really hate racism, and everything is just awful.
That's very true.
And it's like, dude, I just saved your whole city from a freaking, demon attack, and smile for once or something. It's like, come on. But everything is just so depressing and dark and dank, and I mean that's just a Western RPG thing for some reason. But I just don't. It's just not my kind of setup. Even though I can totally appreciate how well and beautifully it is done. It's just not my cup of tea. So those would be my two biggest cons.
Mark, what about for
you?
you?
And then on Xbox, obviously, all the loading screens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, what about for you, man?
This is tough. I think my biggest con would just be, I hate to call it a con, but when you first get to new areas, there's just so much for you to do, so many people to talk to, so many quests to get, that it's completely overwhelming, and I don't know where to start.
Paralyzed with decision. I have that. So that's why I have how long to beat when I do my backlog, because it's hard to make a choice.
And the fact that some things are marked and some things aren't marked on maps.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The maps in general.
Yeah.
Did you ever find yourself not like getting turned around because you can't? There's no fixed map option. You can't hold your map in place. Right. So it's like, okay, so I'm supposed to head north here. I don't know which way north is.
Yep.
Sweet. The map system was awful.
And so, and some things are like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now? Have I done what this quest wanted me to do? I'm not sure, because it's kind of ambiguous. But that's also its plus, because it's not so just formulaic.
Right. I agree. There are a lot of technical issues that were present. I mean, CD Projekt Red is a smaller company, so it's, I'm not going to give them a pass for it. It's just part of the process. My biggest con randomly was, I thought that the middle part of the game really drug. Like, it really kind of slowed down to a point where I was just like the beginning of the game and then the end of the game really highlighted some of the middle section of the game was like, and maybe that's just, I played Vernon Roach's side of the story, so maybe that was part of it, but I was just like, okay, action, come on.
Do you attack the castle on Vernon Roach's side?
So, I'm trying to remember.
Because on my side, we defended it.
I believe we defended it too. Is that Nilfgaard?
Yeah.
You were defending against Nilfgaard, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we were too. It's all both sides you defend. But that was my biggest pet peeve. Was the game kind of lulled in the middle? I think they were trying to add too much exposition and set up everything. The ending was phenomenally great, but it chugged a little bit in the middle until you got to, in my opinion, the meetings with Letho and then the big war scene where the power of emotions created demons. But that was my biggest con. Is it had a pretty significant dip in the middle of where you were slowing down for the big build up. Calm before the storm, I guess. I don't really like those in games. Like, I don't want them to be like full bore all the time, but keep me interested. Like, keep me going. Like,
don't throw a bunch of filler at me that's obviously filler.
Correct. Exactly.
Just real quick to touch on what Mark was saying though about the quest trackers and stuff. I don't like that they had both in there. I think it should have either been all quest trackers or none whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because that left me guessing as to, oh, great, do I need to pull up a freaking guide because I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do on the next one? Or, am I going to be able to walk through it and not have to worry about anything?
Yeah.
I did not like that they had both in there. And I can't think of any reason why they would do it that way. There's no reason in my mind to where you would not have quest trackers on some and have them on others.
That's a good point.
There's no reason in my mind that you would do that. Any other cons? Anybody?
It's a little buggy.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Like I said, technical issues were
not as much as the first game. The first game was way buggier.
Did you run into any bugs in the first one? I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Okay. Well, I mean, as far as recommending it, I recommend it more than the first game for sure. If you listen to this show and you tend to like games that I like to play, lighthearted JRPGs, that kind of stuff, you might not be too thrilled with what you find here. If you're looking for a well-built game where you can appreciate everything that it does right, it's a good one to look at and be like, you know what, they did a really fantastic job with this. But if you're just looking for something fun to get into and just be like, I want to just take some time out and go on an adventure, you're not going to find it here. It's going to be way too depressing.
Yeah, it's a very dark game. That's what they are. Mark, what about you?
As far as recommending it,
yeah.
Unless it takes like a massive downturn later on, I think I recommend it.
Yeah,
you can find it super cheap now, so go play
absolutely. For the price tag, yeah.
And then of course I recommend it highly. It's one of the best series out there to play. Witcher 2 is not quite as good as Witcher 3, but it's very, very good. Much better than Witcher 1. So, you can get a recap of Witcher 1 on Witcher 2, I believe.
Yeah, there's like a cool animated trailer.
Yeah, so if you don't want to play through 1, you want to go start right with 2. That's what I recommend doing. As much as I liked 1, it is very tough to get into, and 2 is worth playing, I believe. So yeah, I recommend it highly.
All right then. Top 5 for the week. Top 5 PS2 games.
Top 5 PS2 games.
Honorable mentions. Anybody?
Mark?
Nope.
None?
Wait, Armored Core 2.
Never played it.
Man, you never played it? Oh, you don't like robots.
Yeah, I've got several just because I didn't want to be cheap and put a series on here. I'll put Kingdom Hearts 1, Metal Gear Solid 2, and God of War 1 on my honorable mentions.
I'll put God of War.
I don't see any on here. Oh, never mind. I take one of those back. We'll find out which one coming up. I didn't even see that. I thought you were.
What's up?
I gotcha.
Unbelievable.
Nice choice though. Really? That over
typical?
That over 3? Really?
I have. That's the only one that I've played.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Literally the only one in the series. Yeah.
I've said this. It was a fantastic one though. That's the one.
We'll get into it.
That's the one that takes place on.
We'll get into it.
Okay.
We'll get into it.
Sorry about that. My bad. One of my honorable mentions is not true.
I would say the Dot Hack series, like I mentioned before, just for the story alone. Also, Final Fantasy 12.
Ah, yeah, that's a great one.
You know what? Very, very mixed reactions. Not quite as looked down upon as 13, but still very, very mixed reactions from the Final Fantasy crowd on it.
Yep.
I personally enjoyed it. I still had a good time. I liked the battle system in it. I liked setting up my gambits. And what other game? Mark, do you have any other ones you can think of? You only played like 3, so
Armored Core 3.
you're the worst.
Come on, Mark.
GTA.
Suikoden 4?
Nope.
Terrible. I want to say Silent Hill 2. Just recently played that. I talked about it a while ago, but great writing. Fantastic game. Good stuff. Okay, well then let's get into it. Number 5, Brian, you and I have the same one.
Come on, it's easy. Final Fantasy X.
Final Fantasy X. Absolutely.
First Final Fantasy ever with voice acting, too, I might add.
Yep. And when you went from 9 to this, like on the PS2, the graphical upgrade was spectacular.
I mean, you look back at the game now and you're like, oh, but when it first came out, it was... I remember watching the trailers with my brother and thinking this is like the coolest thing we've ever played. And it was a good Final Fantasy, too. It was.
I will admit, when I first played it, because the first time I actually played it was at Matt's place.
Right.
Played it, and I was thinking in my mind, this does not feel like a Final Fantasy game. Oh, man. Oh, crap. Where's my world map? Where's all this stuff? But the more you play of it, I really enjoyed it and had a good time with it, and I still think it's a great game to this day. I'm really glad they came out with the HD remakes of it. Pick it up if you haven't had the chance, but Final Fantasy X is a great game.
Fantastic game. Definitely in my top 5. That's why it's not my number 5.
Mark, number 5.
My number 5 is Dark Cloud.
What about Dark Cloud 2?
Dark Cloud 2, I didn't really play it that much. I know JJ did.
Dark Cloud 2?
Didn't you play Dark Cloud 2?
No, I played Dark Cloud 1.
Oh, well, I played the first one, too.
First one's excellent.
First one is really good.
Gotcha.
It's like a puzzle game / dungeon crawler game
/ city builder game.
/ city builder game. Well, the city building also has like cool puzzles in it.
Yeah, because you have to put people's houses like next to other people who want to. Like one guy will be like, "Oh, I want to wake up to the smell of warm bread in the morning," so you have to put the baker's house across the street. But you get like special items and stuff for doing so.
The way you guys described the game,
it's really challenging
cool.
though. Like you have paths and places you can put the houses, and you have limited numbers of different types of things.
Right.
So you can't. There's not an unlimited number of configurations. You have to figure out how can this guy have a sunrise in the morning, and also this guy be near the bakery, and not block this thing that I need to put here.
Yep.
And the better, I think you get items, like rare items, whenever you complete one of those goals.
Yep.
And the item system I also thought was really cool. Like,
upgrading your weapons and stuff.
Yeah, if you get like duplicates of a weapon, you can try and combine them to create a better version of that weapon.
Oh, that's
but
cool.
You can also break it.
I was going to say, I didn't like how you could break it, because if you had a really good one and you were just forgetful, you would lose it forever. There was no way to repair it, which kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you toss in a Zelda-style gameplay on top of all that, and Dark Cloud is a great game.
Yeah.
Never did actually beat it, though. I got to the 4th character, the genie.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's the 3rd.
I think that was close to the end.
But, yeah, it's a freaking great game.
I don't remember the plot, though. The plot's
there's an evil genie that you're fighting, or that comes to alive, and you're supposed to take him down. Basically, he in order to save their world, they split their city into little baubles that you collect to build their cities back up, or something like that. I don't know. It's been years since I played it.
Was all gameplay. That was the reason I liked it so much.
Absolutely. Yep, 100%. It was very, very cut and dry story, but the gameplay was great. All right, number 4. My number 4, as Brian mentioned before. Typical.
I goofed it.
Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty.
That's the
one that takes place on
that's the one
oil
that
rig,
It's the one
right?
that takes place in the oil rig. It's the only game in the series that I have played, and I absolutely loved it. The first stealth assassin-ish type game that I ever played was Tenchu, Stealth Assassins on PlayStation 1. I never really I loved it, and I thought it was a fantastic game because I loved doing stealth kills and stuff and sneaking up on people and everything like that. But I never really understood or noticed or saw the depth that a game like that could have until I played MGS2.
Yeah.
Just unbelievably detailed, and the things you could do. It got a little repetitive just because of the locale. It was on one big giant oil platform and
big
never
shell.
left there.
Yeah.
But you know what? Because the story was so good, it kind of just...
Oh, and the characters. That's the one thing Metal Gear Solid just is memorable for. The characters, all the bosses, like Vamp and Liquidus Snake or Solidus Snake.
Right.
Yeah.
Highly recommend Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty. Brian, number 4.
My number 4 is Shadows of the Colossus, but this one actually appears on somebody else's list, and I bet you can guess who that is because
JJ's,
somebody
right?
else hates this game.
It's just one. It's just one shadow. There's no S.
Shadow
Typical.
of the Colossus.
Typical.
I actually have it spelled that way.
No, you don't.
Shadow of the Colossus. This is
What?
Shadow. It says Shadows.
Yeah. You
But-
said there was an S.
Here, okay, hold on. Can I poke holes in that? Because there are multiple Colossus.
Yeah, but that's not what.
But that's not what the name of the game is.
Does the case say
So
Shadows?
the case is wrong.
The case doesn't say shadows.
I know. It should say Shadows because there's multiple Colossus. Colossi.
All right. Well, then, yes, the developer and the manufacturer of the case is
Colossi?
wrong.
Is it Colossi?
Sure.
Okay.
Mark, number 4.
My number
Typical.
4
Typical.
is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Not a PS2.
I mean, Metal Gear Solid 2 was not an exclusive either.
Metal Gear Solid 2 was an exclusive.
No, it wasn't.
You're talking 3, you mean?
No, both of them eventually came to the Xbox.
Oh.
So,
Yeah, but
mine's
how
just
long?
as good as yours.
Yeah, mine's better, though.
Go ahead, Mark.
Timed exclusive. Now I'm derailed.
It wouldn't be a top 5 list without you throwing something on there that's questionable.
You threw that. Something,
the point.
Yours is just as
Yeah,
questionable.
it's fine.
No. Yours is just as questionable.
Mark, let's just agree that mine's better.
To be fair, I think that Sons of Liberty was locked down as an exclusive for much longer than San Andreas.
I don't know. Someone has a computer. But while he's searching for that, I will say that San Andreas was, at the time, like the most story-heavy of the GTA games.
Oh, yeah.
And also, every other game up to that point had been, well, GTA 3 and GTA Vice City both took place in one city each. And San Andreas brought 3 separate cities and the countryside that connects them together into one game. And it's one seamless, no load screens, basically. And it was, at the time, completely groundbreaking.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing like that. You know what GTA San Andreas is. Come on, guys. You don't need me to tell you anything else.
No, it's one of the biggest ones ever besides the 5, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, and the fact that you could, you had to, work your way up at the beginning of the game.
You started as
had
a
to,
gangbanger, yeah.
Yeah, you had to get, a baseball bat. And you eventually got, knives.
Yeah.
And you didn't even get guns
Nope.
for, an hour or two. It was very cool. And you could eat and get fat.
Yeah, or lift weights and get swole.
Yeah.
Number 3s. My number 3 is Dragon Quest VIII: Journey of the Cursed King. This was actually the first Dragon Quest game that I ever sunk my teeth into. I had played the first one on regular Nintendo at my cousin's house years and years and years ago, but it was so grindy that I was like, there's no way I can play this.
Right.
I don't have the time, and eventually did beat it, though. Dragon Quest VIII, though, while very grindy still, showed me what a world map looks like in full, frickin', 3D layout.
Right.
Unbelievable just being able to walk through this huge landscape. Fantastic story. Again, a lighthearted adventure, while at the same time, just very, very traditional.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I would love to see the Final Fantasy series do. Sticking to its roots while just updating, the graphics and the gameplay a little bit.
Just stepping them
up. Not completely overhauling it and doing a complete, 180. So fantastic game if you haven't checked it out. Dragon Quest VIII: Journey of the Cursed King, long game too, very long.
Something JRPGs have in common.
Yeah, no joke. Brian, number 3.
My number 3 is Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which was a PS2 exclusive and not a
No,
cross-platform.
man, no. Hold on there.
Anyway, Metal Gear Solid 3, widely considered the best Metal Gear Solid, takes you back in time, not playing as Solid Snake, but Big Boss, which obviously Solid Snake was his clone. It takes place in the jungle, though. I remember it was a very survivalistic game. You had to eat food. You had to maintain your health because you're surviving in a jungle. Brought the camo system into effect. In some of the boss battles in that game, I don't know if you guys have ever heard about some of the boss battles in that game, but they are some of the best in any game. Squaring off against a really old sniper, it comes to memory, and then the lilac fields at the very end of the game when you're battling the last boss. very set piece. Such a cinematic game, and the push in the PS2 hardware for sure. But yeah, my number 3 is for sure Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
My number 3.
Mark's number 3.
My number 3 is Suikoden 5. And I think I'm the only person who's played this one.
In this room, yeah.
In the world.
In the
Based
world.
on the sales, I'd say in the world. No, this is much better than Suikoden 4. I will say that. It's what gave me hope for Suikoden again after that one. It's, it's all still in 3D. It's got voice acting, unlike Suikoden 3.
It does have voice acting?
I think voice acting started in 4, but my memory's so bad about that one, I block it out. I'm not 100% on that. But no, this one brought back sort of the classic battles. It's not like they were in Suikoden 3. It's more like Suikoden 2, but also got like a real-time aspect to it where you're moving troops around on a 3D battlefield.
Battlefield?
Yeah. And it's got a fantastic plot about your main character is the son of the queen you are playing the game in the queendom of Felena. It's run by a queen. That's why it's called a queendom instead of a kingdom.
Roger that.
There you go.
10-4.
Sorry, I'm still so derailed by what we were just talking about. But I can't tell you how good the plot is without spoiling stuff. Let's just say that it's very cool.
You know how much we like Suikoden, so
yeah.
A
lot of politics, good stuff.
All right. Number 2. My number 2 is Suikoden 3.
Wow, look at that.
But it actually shows up later on somebody else's list, so we'll talk about it then.
All right, guys. My number 2 is Kingdom Hearts 2. I William Shatnered that one for the specific reason. Kingdom Hearts 2 is fantastic. Shout out to Kingdom Hearts 1, but the controls in that, when it first came out on the PS2, were hot garbage.
Yes.
Horrible design on that. Still a fun game, but they addressed all that in Kingdom Hearts 2, and I felt that Kingdom Hearts 2 was a more coherent Japanese story, so that's saying that.
So you don't have to fly a ship around every time you want to go to a new world?
The ships, so in Kingdom Hearts 1, you had that really slow gummy ship thing. In Kingdom Hearts 2, they jazzed it up and did like a Star Fox kind of system where it's like fast paced moving through the system. It feels a lot better than number 1, the slow gummy
Still
ships.
looks better than Star Fox for Wii U.
Shots fired. Shots fired. But Kingdom Hearts 2 had a lot more Disney worlds to explore, a lot more cameos. The Final Fantasy characters had a more of an integral role in that game than they did in 1. So just in general, Kingdom Hearts 2 is a better Kingdom Hearts. So that's why it's on my list. And that's why it's so high on my list, because that is one of the best series around here.
Okay.
I don't know. Hold on. One of the best series around.
Mark, number 2.
My number 2 is also on Brian's list, but he already said it, so it's Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
No,
you know
not
what?
of the Crapola. Shadow of the Colossus.
It's okay.
I mean, I see they both start with a C. I
JJ
see how you got confused.
JJ represents the vocal minority, because most people accept
I'm fully aware of that, to be honest.
Most people accept this as one of the greatest games on the system.
Yeah, this
True.
is like
This is very true.
where the modern art game movement started up again. If you took a game like an open world Zelda and took all of the enemies out of it and made it nihilistic, you would basically have Shadow of the Colossus.
It was more fatalistic, wasn't it?
Fatalistic, yeah, that's a better word to use.
Right.
I mean, you've got this giant open world, you've got your horse and this amazing, is it a castle?
I don't
in the
know what
center
it's
of
hard
the
to.
world?
It's like a bastion. Is what I would describe
Right.
it as.
And there's literally no enemies other than these giant bosses that you have to fight. I think is there 12 of them?
12, and they all wildly vary between like their shapes
Yes.
and sizes. Oh my goodness, the last boss was talk about giant Colossus.
Yeah.
So
And it's a very mysterious game as well. There's no reason you would even find this, but if you're really good, you can climb the side of that giant altar castle in the center of the map and get to like a Garden of Eden at the top
right,
with poison apples that will kill you.
it's one of those games.
Oh, that's such a cool reward.
It's one of those games very similar to Dark Souls and Bloodborne, where the story is more inferred than given to you. It's more of an interpretive story, where it's like, here's what's happening, figure it out.
Yep.
And it was a beautiful game, too.
Very much
I think
so.
each individual Colossus had, like, wavy hair, and, like, they would shift as they would shift. It was just, I had so much memories playing that game, and the music while you're climbing the Colossus was...
And there's a turn in the game where the story takes a major turn.
Yeah,
and it's
a twist.
I don't want to say anything,
Right.
but it's something special.
Yep. If you have never played it, there's an HD version. Get it, play it. You have to play it. It's one of those games where it's like, it's on the Mount Rushmore of games, I think.
Yeah, JJ.
Yeah.
I have played it.
Play it more.
No.
Play it 8 times in a row.
I played,
You got to
I
get
played
to the
demo.
twist.
I don't care. I thought the gameplay was just atrocious. Sorry. It's bad.
No, but it was like one of those.
I don't want to spend 20 minutes climbing up one guy just to hit him once, fall down all the way to the bottom, and then climb back and do it all over again.
That's how I play games. I thought you were better than me.
I don't know. I played it on a demo before it came out. Like, this was forever ago.
You got to master it, man. You get
I
good.
definitely
you get good.
do not.
You got a master.
But no, this is just to finish it out here. This was a game where when we first saw the E3 trailers about what this game was going to be like, we said no way. We said this is like them hyping up a game that's going to be cut down and not nearly as cool as it is, and it was actually even cooler.
Yeah, it exceeded all expectations. It put Team Ico on the map, really.
Yeah.
I know they had Eco before.
Yep.
But which was regarded as a good game with some issues, but
Yeah.
Shadows of the Colossus really put them on the map and made Last Guardian like, hype city.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now on to real games.
Oh, shots fired.
Number ones. My number one is the Xenosaga trilogy. I absolutely adored these games. They, the cameo, well, there's one cameo in there from Xenogears. If you played Xenogears and you play Xenosaga, you'll know it right when you see it. But I loved Xenogears so much, and to have a whole trilogy of games that kind of is in the same vein of that was just spectacular. And each game is quite different from its predecessor. A lot of people don't like the second one very much. I honestly thought it was still a pretty solid one. It's probably the weaker of the three. But the way it ends, I absolutely love the ending of the third one and the way everything all just ends up. It's so complex and there's so much to it that if you really, really take the time to get in there and dig through it all, there's just so much there to offer. A lot of cutscenes, a lot of dialogue, but great trilogy, Xenosaga. And you've played.
I played the first one, and I liked it a lot. There's a lot of mystery elements to it that are just fascinating.
Very cool. Brian, number one.
My number one is God of War 2. In my opinion, this is the pinnacle of the PS2 era. This is the game that was kind of like the final like bow to the system. By far the best looking game. The cinematic, the set pieces in God of War, I still feel are unrivaled. Just the boss battles and I know everybody thinks the quick time events are maligned, but God of War invented that pretty much and it mastered it. The story of God of War as well, huge. I'm a huge mythology geek, so getting to traipse around in ancient Greece mythos was fantastic, and then the combat felt very, very satisfying, especially the finishers that you did. So I feel like this game encapsulates the PS2 era to a T. Like, this is the trophy case. Like, if you were to pick one for each system, it'd be like The Last of Us for the PS3 era, God of War 2 for the PS2, and this is my opinion only, but it should be yours too, because if you don't think so, then you're wrong.
I will say the first God of War was the game that made me accept that I'm a bad gamer. That's when I realized I suck at games.
Were you getting slayed off the wall like my friend Gabe?
Yes. I remember I got to the dungeon that was inside the Titan, and it was really hard, and I was like, oh, I suck.
One of my brothers and I's friend played the first battle with the Hydra in the QuickTime event where he's in the boat and he keeps if you miss it, he
couldn't beat that one?
Slam you up against the wall. Yeah. He kept getting quote slayed off the wall.
Whoops.
Yep.
Mark, number 1.
My number 1 is also on JJ's list.
Yep.
Suikoden 3. And soon it will be on Brian's list. Maybe. Maybe.
I think the animations alone have already dropped it down a little bit.
Way to be superficial, Brian.
It's part of the game.
I think we've already established a long time ago that Brian's very superstitious when
Whoa!
it
How
comes
is me?
to...
How is me demanding a game have
superficial.
good? If it's a
I
visual.
like superstitions.
Hold on. Let me defend myself. How is me thinking that a game needs to have good visual and fluid animations shallow? It's part of the game. If you're going to make a gaming medium, you got to do that. That's
No,
part
I
of
think
it.
it's shallow, but it is perfectly in line
It's
with everything
not
we know
shallow.
about you.
True.
It's like if you have a great book, but the guy has run-on sentences and like really bad grammar. It's like, okay, technically the story is great, but I can't read this.
I wouldn't say that
Yeah, but
is
it's
a fair
not...
comparison.
Yeah, the game's not unplayable.
Watch
It's
the
like looking.
animations.
No, it's like looking at a great movie that didn't have very good special effects.
Or it's like reading a book with a guy who's not very good at describing things. It's very
No,
Yeah.
it's not like that.
absolutely.
I don't think so.
You got to have good. You have to have. If you're going to make a video game, it's got to have good every part. To be
Suikoden 3
anyway.
is a storytelling feat. It starts with 3 separate characters. You can start in any order you want and play through their separate but intertwined stories through the first 3 chapters, and then it kind of combines after that.
I think so, yeah.
It's Suikoden, as you know, we talk about it all the time. It's great. It's got politics. It's got magic, but an interesting take on magic, and it deals a lot with fate.
Getting to see the same story from several points of view is one of the... I mean, I've said it 1,000 times over on the show. It's probably the most intriguing thing about the game, to me, at least. Yeah. You play through one character, and you end up thinking one of the other ones is a huge jerk. And you're just like, I can't believe it. Why would I ever even... You unbelievable. And then you play through as that character, and you're like, oh... I had no idea. That first guy, he's a jerk. Man, can't believe, and it's you kind of just go back and forth, and just the way it all plays out is it's stellar. It really is.
Yeah. And despite what Brian's saying, I think the art direction in the game is really good, and I think the music is fantastic.
The music is good.
Oh, yeah.
The music is
That intro.
There's no denying that.
I'll give you the animations. Don't look
the
great.
visual style.
What? You don't like the visual style?
It's okay.
It's just I agree with the animations. I don't mind the visual style. the animations are
You don't like that?
I think I'd marry the two, so it's hard for me to like separate them. It's like I picture it and
superficial.
Yep.
it's part of it's a game. You get judged on that stuff. You can't just be like, well, it's a great story. Just forget all the other stuff. Like you can't do that. You gotta polish it up, man.
You can.
You can't. You can do that, but you're gonna get judged based on it.
Yeah, but when it came out, it wasn't like it wasn't.
You
tough
think those
to handle.
animations were on par with some of the other ones?
Absolutely.
Really?
I didn't.
When
I
it
didn't
came out in
think it was
2003.
Yeah, 2003. It wasn't.
I didn't think like Final
It wasn't
Fantasy
tough.
X's animations were rough.
That was
like this.
Final Fantasy X is the AAA of JRPGs, though. Look at other smaller
Yeah,
JRPGs.
Suikoden's not up there.
All right.
Like what Tales games were coming out in 2003?
I have no idea. I wasn't into the series at that
Yeah.
point. I didn't get into it until, well, I don't know. Whenever Tales of Symphonia came out. I'm not sure what year. I'm not.
Well,
gonna
maybe
spend time looking
shallow,
it up,
but it's still it's my.
Here's what I'm going to say. Brian prefers the Star Wars remastered versions.
I'm not actually a big Star Wars fan. Like I like Star Wars, but I'm not like
I was trying to insult you. I wasn't
Oh.
actually like.
I don't know what that means. Is that a
In
thing?
this analogy, you like the ridiculous, horrible special effects thrown on top of the original trilogy.
Is that a bad? Is that bad? People
Yes.
don't like
That
that.
means
A lot of
you're the
people
worst.
Okay,
That means you're the worst.
gotcha.
Oh boy,
I'm not the worst.
you're in the running.
Okay, I'll accept it.
But yes, Suikoden 3 is a fantastic game.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore it and love it. Look for that review coming up soon, actually.
That's right, Brian.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll promise I'll mark it and get partway into it.
You better have some. You better know that it's a game.
I love when Mark tries to shoot from the hip and it just like ends up like just blowing a hole in his pants.
Brian, listen here. You better you got to make sure that and colors happen.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody have anything else as far as PS2 games or anything along that line?
I think
Gran Turismo, whichever one came out for that.
3. Your brother and
There you
I
go.
played that for hours.
It's a good game.
It was good.
I'd say that PS2 is probably one of my richest gaming memories. Like probably the most time in games played on that era. So PS2 era, good era.
It was a great era. There was a lot that I have so many games for it in my backlog.
Yep.
Okay, well, with that, then, thank you very much for listening. This is the Frozen North signing off for episode number 73. As always, shoot us an email, tell us what you think, and please subscribe and rate us on iTunes. We really, really could use it. I don't have anything else. My name is JJ.
My name is Mark.
My name is Storborg Gamborch.
No, that's not.
That's not
It's Brian. It's Brian.
close to official. Once again, and as always, keep on gaming.
Our theme song was made available through the Creative Commons Attribution license by Ziphoid. The song title is Radical Fanfare.